there is no magic to reducing belly fat. There is no drink that will reduce your belly fat in 2 weeks. Please don't go damage your liver or your kidney because you're trying to reduce belly fat. So stay with me and listen to the scientific and evidence-based strategies. Anything about your health, which involves nutrition, exercise, and all the other things we'll talk about today, is about the consistency. This episode, it is gang up against belly fat. Belly fat, enough is enough with you. We are taking charge. We are breaking that vicious cycle. And if you have not yet watched the last episode where I talked about the causes of belly fat in this category of women, this episode might not make so much sense to you. So you might want to watch that first and then watch this episode so that you can match them. Because when you understand the cycle of what is happening, you actually understand the strategies to breaking them. And like I say, here is a professional podcast. It's not about drink this for 2 weeks and melt belly fat. I mean, there's nothing like that. The only way you can take away belly fat so quick is if you do a tummy tuck, or if you go do a surgery that cuts out portion of the stomach, what we call a sleeve gastrectomy. Because what that does is it significantly reduces what you can take in, whether you like it or not. And that puts you in a calorie deficit. The number one thing is we want to stop the effect of muscle loss and how it is reducing our metabolic rate. And the way to do that is to increase muscle mass and increase metabolic rate. And it's as simple. You do strength and training exercises. Strength and training exercises. That means you are carrying the dumbbells. You're lifting reasonable weights, basically. You are doing exercises, what some people will call resistance exercises, like exercises that make you exert, a particular muscle so that you are strengthening that muscle. That is what I mean by strength and training exercises. What that does is it will build and maintain your muscle mass. And when muscle mass is maintained, your burning of calorie is maintained, because like I told you, muscle will burn calories better than fat. So if you are able to burn the calories you are taking in, you are sure that you will not be accumulating excess calories. The second thing is to stabilize your blood sugar. And what do I mean? When you eat, what happens is there is a rush. The body feels as it were the glucose rush, especially when you eat refined sugars or highly processed food. And there is insulin spike in the body to deal with the glucose. Remember, insulin is the driver of sugar in the blood to the cells. Now, when you continue to do this persistently, it comes to a time the cells are tired, and that's what we call insulin resistance. So even though insulin is like, okay, I'm here, I want to give you some glucose, the cells are like, no, we don't need glucose. You just gave us glucose 5 minutes ago. We're still dealing with the glucose you gave us. Because remember, the overall metabolic rate has reduced. So you need things to turn around. So you don't want to keep loading yourself with blood sugar. And how do you stabilize your blood sugar? First, in the morning when you eat, make sure your breakfast is high in protein so that you will calm the morning cortisol spike. Because when sugar spikes and there's a rush of insulin, cortisol also spikes. And once you've called cortisol commander-in-chief to take charge of your body for that day, it runs the whole gamut. So in the morning, you want to regulate how your body is going to function. What I do now is I ensure that my breakfast is yogurt-based, plain non-fat yogurt with chia seed that I have soaked overnight or at least for 2 hours. I mix it up and I take that either with akara or moi moi, something that is really high in protein. I'm just giving that as an example. It does not mean that is what you have to do. You can simply do a smoothie. You can
or a milkshake.
Something that is nourishing. Avocado is so rich in more of the things we need. So just find things that work for you and that suit your palate. I mean, over the years, we are wired to like some foods more than the others. But make sure that in the morning, you are calming your cortisol spike by ensuring that your diet is high in protein at breakfast. Don't forget that. The second thing is other meals of the day, in addition to being high in protein, should also be high in fiber and in fruits as vegetables. What this does for us is that it will regulate our gut's bacteria. All of this also has something to do with the gut bacteria because your gut health matters to your overall health. So there's regulation of your gut bacteria, and also you are able to process food faster. There's no sitting down of stuff in the colon. You are able, you move your bowel more frequently. You feel full for longer because of the fiber content of your food. And so many foods have a lot of fiber. We have nuts. I think I've done about 2 episodes on food alone. Foods that helps you to increase, to maintain your testosterone level, and foods that help you to maintain a healthy heart. So if you've not watched those, you can go to them because they were detailed in some of these things. So nuts and seeds, avocado, like I mentioned, is very high in fiber. You want to ensure that your food has that. That way you will regulate your blood sugar spikes. In addition, make sure you are now taking low glycemic carbohydrates. We have a wide range of carbohydrates, right? But you want to look for the ones that have low glycemic carbohydrates. And we have examples, whole grain. So for example, when rice is not yet processed, it is the glycemic index is actually lower than when we eat the fine polished rice. And that's why the local rice in Nigeria that we call ofada rice is healthier than the polished rice. Other whole grains are there, and that's why oats are good for us. Whole wheat of anything is better than refined flour. Sweet potatoes are low glycemic carbohydrates as well. So you want to ensure that those are the things that feature more in your diet. So the other thing I want us to do after we have stabilized our blood sugar is to implement a sustainable calorie deficit. At this point, that is what is going to keep us well, a calorie deficit. But you can sustain it without being hungry or without looking starved. Because guess what? Remember from the previous episode, your basal metabolic rate has reduced. And you are trying as much as possible not to add more calories to your body. So one of the things that will help us now is calorie deficit. Many people do it in many ways. Some follow the rule of intermittent fasting, but it doesn't work for everyone. And that's why people will say things like, your last meal in the evening should be 7 p.m. So if you eat last at 7 p.m., you're not eating something else until 7 or after. So you've had a 12-hour window of a fast where your body is resting and is in a calm state. That also helps your body. Apart from intermittent fasting, the mix of the things you eat will reduce the calories that you are taking in. So there are many regulations that people follow that help them to maintain calorie deficit. But I want to give a general rule in addition to portioning sizes. If you ate 2 wraps of fufu, for example, before, you can switch it over to 1 wrap and fill your plate with more vegetables than with the fufu. Replace one fufu with more vegetable. If you can do that, it works magic. And before you know what's happening, your body would actually get used to that calorie deficit. 1 fufu, more vegetables, as opposed to 2 fufu and some sizable portion of vegetable. Remember, I'm just using this as examples. I'm not saying that is what you should go do. If you're diabetic, you don't even want to take a fufu in the first instance. So I'm just trying to use this as examples. Now, the rule of thumb I'm going to say is for every meal, make sure your plate is 1/4 of protein, 1/4 of carbohydrates, and half vegetable or fruit. Simply means that you are taking more of vegetables and fruits every meal than carbohydrates and protein. If you follow that rule, you will reduce your carbohydrate intake significantly. Your Protein intake will be moderate. If you remember what I said about foods that nourish the heart, protein should be in moderation and vegetables and fruits should be higher. So with that, you're going to maintain a sustainable calorie deficit. I use the word sustainable because many people go on diets that are not sustainable. They completely stay off something, but that is not normal to life. And then eventually they go back to it, and then their weight is more worse than what it was before they started the special diet. So follow this rule of thumb and you'll be able to maintain a sustainable calorie deficit. Ensure that you are not giving cortisol charge of your body. It's as simple as that. When you manage stress, you are telling cortisol, I don't want you as commander in chief. Even though estrogen has retired, I'm not taking you as commander in chief. You are not the replacement for estrogen. I will do better without you. To reduce cortisol, of course, you optimize sleep. That is another important thing. We have to optimize sleep. And when you optimize sleep, it helps you to take care of hormones that
It
make you
also
feel hungry. And that is what, this weight loss drugs do, the GLP-1 drugs. That is what they actually do. They disrupt the appetite hormones. So you are not feeling hungry a lot. That's what GLP-1 does. It reduces that urge to eat in people who use it, and it helps them. But it does have side effects in some people. Some have used it very well and they've lost marvelous amount of weight and they are better for it. But for some people, it causes side effects of pancreatitis and all of that. But you can do this the natural way. Sleep well. Good sleep will actually act like GLP-1 for you. And the final one I'm going to mention, not the final, the last but one, is hormone replacement therapy. This is optional. For some women, it might be necessary, but this will be determined by your physician to know whether things are so bad that you need some replacement of estrogen so that you can function. Hormone replacement means the estrogen that has gone out of your body, they're just giving you a sustainable amount that is good for this phase of life. But it is not for everybody. It is optional. If you can do well without it, fine. But you can find out from your physician whether you would need this or not. And the final one, increase your non-exercise activity. I talked about um, strength and training for building of muscle mass. But in addition to that, you need to increase your activity. Places that you would have taken a car to, if it's somewhere you can walk to, please walk. And that means regular aerobic movement. Try to do 10,000 steps a day, whether it's through bicycle riding, whether it's through swimming, whether it's just taking a walk in your house up and down the staircase, or maybe it's doing some exercises. There are so many things that are out there recommended for women: wall Pilates, calisthenics, so many, many exercises. But please do it slowly. Take it one step at a time. If you've never been exercising before, you can't go in a rush into it so that your body does not react. Remember, everything is faith. But like I always say, consistency is more important than the knee-jerk reaction. Because you've listened to the podcast, you quickly try these things for a few days and then you relapse. But when you're consistent with it, you will notice the gradual decrease in your belly fat because the calorie deficit makes the body turn on the excess fat and burns it for energy rather than asking your brain to tell you that you are hungry for you to take more food. That way you break the cycle. I'm saying it again. Don't fall into the trap of drink this and in 2 weeks your belly fat will disappear. Eat this one single thing and in 5 days your belly fat will shrink. It is not scientific. It is not evidence based. And I don't want you to hurt your body while trying to help it. So please stay well. And if you've not yet subscribed, I wonder why you've not. Subscribe and share this podcast because I'm sure many women like myself will find it helpful. And some of you might ask, have you tried these things? Yes, I've started to try them and I'm seeing some significant changes. I've been trying it for a while before I started to see the changes. So do not expect any magic. It's about consistency. Until the next episode, stay well, stay safe. I remain Dr. B. Bye for now.